it seems like Apple and iOS 9 was a huge catalyst to this, where they talked about content blocking. Is this about the consumer experience, or is this about a war with Google? Is this about, hey, we can control we can control this walled garden? What do you think that there's an element of that in this, or do you think it's purely done for consumer reasons?
There's a little bit of both. You know, I think there's the impact that the iOS 9 has is it gives greater sort of root control over what you can block. And you know, to go back to the question from to circle back around before, our audience, so we've been around for a long time. We've been around since a long time. We've been around since 2009, which feels like a long time. But you know, our early audience, they were really these, you know, almost this hardcore audience of techies, of developers, of hackers, and of privacy buffs. And what we see, as you mentioned, that word of mouth is huge, right? It's been this, you know, we get most of our users because they hear it from somebody else. And what's happening is that word of mouth is migrating from that small audience outward to the mainstream, right? So we hear all the time, you know, I heard it from my IT guy, I heard it from my colleague, I heard it from my like uncle's cousin's former roommate kind of thing who like tells me the NSA is bad. So it's growing outward, which is obviously good for us, but I think the reason it's more relevant today than it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe it's a hot point in conversations, because it's getting to your mom, it's getting to your sister, it's getting to the millennials, to the 20-something, you know, Tinder swipers that, you know, are the audience that you want to reach, and I think that's why it's a little bit of a bigger deal. You know, with iOS 9, I think what is really telling is that it validates this pent-up pain and demand from the consumers on their mobile devices, where you have a surge of apps in the App Store for content blockers, and it gets to the fact that, you know, these pain points are exacerbated because it is a smaller screen, it is a slower connection.
So the top downloaded apps for iOS 9 have been ad blockers for several weeks, yet a couple of those were withdrawn, and some of them associated with Ghostery. Why the change of heart?
Yeah, so that's actually a really good question. I think with the peace experiment, which is, I think, how we've come to view it, was really educational for us. For those of you interested, our CEO wrote a pretty long blog post about it and sort of our rationale for pulling it back. You know, at the end of the day, I think beyond validating the need for it, I think what we learned with peace in particular was that the all or nothing approach for us wasn't the right solution, right? And I think this is sort of germane to this conversation where we're not in the business of using a blunt instrument to indiscriminately block everything. You know, at the end of the day, and I think Jerry would agree, we want to give users and the end user the choice over what it is they actually give up in that exchange for content, right? So with peace, I think it was a little bit too, it was too much an all sizes fits all, a one size fits all approach. And with Ghostery, we really want a more nuanced approach that allows you to sort of get the personalized solution to your browsing experience.